Hi, everyone. I hope you've had a wonderful 4-day weekend. And here we are back for our week 6 update. Can you believe that? I guess March is coming soon, so that makes sense. All right, so let me navigate to our Canvas page so we can take a look together. This week is an important week, so it may be short, but we have a lot happening this week because as you remember from last week, we are completing, so finishing up Unit 1. The deadline for the last homework, which is on homework on Chapter 3, is a little bit later. It's due tomorrow because of the 4-day weekend, so I wanted to make sure you had time. But following that, this week we have the first exam. All right, so I just want to give you a reminder. You can go to exam 1 information. It tells you what is going to happen. So Thursday morning, the 24th at 9 a.m., the midterm will become available and it will be open for 3 days. So until Saturday midnight. All right, so it's to allow for more flexibility to fit your schedules, because I know you all have very different schedules. I mean, it be, it's your classes or work and other things. Once you start your exam, you will have a window of 3 hours to complete it. But don't worry, it shouldn't take 3 hours at the most. It should take about an hour. The reason you have more time is that if you encounter any technical difficulties or anything like that, it gives you a bit more of a buffer. Please read the rules and expectations. You're expected to be working on your own. However, you have access to notes and textbook and the material from the class. So you're welcome to use that. But no other sources, like you're not supposed to use Google or go get somebody to come help you. So, and remember that this is an assessment of how you're doing in the class at this point. And the questions, so they're going to be 35 questions on the first 3 chapters that we've covered, similar to what you've seen so far. And you have 2 attempts. All right, so if you feel like you didn't do well on your first attempt, you can take it again, as long as it's during the 3-day window. If for any reason, these dates don't work for you, please reach out, let me know, and we'll make sure to find a time that works for you. In the meantime, also, you can see that we have a practice exam. The practice exam is set up in a similar way. So you can take it as many times as you want. And it will essentially give you a set of 35 questions out of a pool of questions. And it will be the same for the actual exam. So really good preparation is to take the practice exam a few times and see how you're doing, right? So you can try to take it one time, see how you're doing, look at, what sections you need to review. If you're finding that you're not able to answer some of the questions, and then you can try again, see if you're doing better. And then you should be able to take the actual exam. So lots of preparation. I would, again, please make sure that you take the practice exam before. That will also help with anxiety, because you'll know what to expect, and that's very useful. You can also take notes as you're taking the practice test, see what's helpful to have, what not so much, so that when you're taking the actual exam, you have that with you. All right. If you have any questions about this, please reach out. All right. Um, because the exam opens on Thursday, I would also encourage you to stop by my office hours, and you can take the test during my office hours. I can put you in a breakout room so that if you have questions during the test, I'm right there to help. All right. All right, and we're continuing with the material. So we have Unit 2 that's open, and the first chapter of Unit 2, it's chapter 4. So we have uh, the homework on chapter 4 that's all about work and energy that's coming up. And these are very important concepts that will give us another way of describing some of the things that we've already seen. So you can see the structure is very similar to what we've seen before in other chapters. And as you can see in the learning outcomes, a lot of these definitions actually rely on things that you've studied before. So namely here, the concept of force is going to be extremely important. And we're going to define what is work as defined in physics. And then we will see how it relates to the concept of energy. We'll look at different types of energy. So we will be looking at potential energy, kinetic energy. We'll see how they relate, and we'll see how we can use conservation of energy when looking at a given situation. All right, so these are very important concepts. As usual, so you have a number of videos that introduce those in different ways. So if you find something that worked for you in the past, you can go back to that again. And then you also have my videos after this. And you have the handouts that are posted. So here again, my videos that go over the same concept that I was just mentioning, along with additional resources, especially if you're more of a visual learner, or you like to, play around with things. You have some simulations and some other applications. What I would like to also discuss, so we have homework on energy. That's going to be due on Sunday. And then we have a discussion here that's based on this video. All right, so the idea is to watch this video and see what you have as takeaways from this video. And this is an example of an energy transfer. The video will do a much better job at explaining, because you'll see it's actually, you'll actually see how it's done. But it's an example of, you can lift an object, and by lifting an object, so if I'm lifting my pen here, it takes some effort. So I'm pulling, so I'm exerting a force. What you're going to learn in this chapter is that by me pulling, exerting a force, and moving my pen, I'm essentially doing work. This work essentially of turning, taking my pen from a position here to a higher position, is giving it potential energy, gravitational potential energy. So I'm lifting, so you will learn all about these words. And so potential energy, it's in the name a little bit. It means that it's energy that is stored. Now that my pen is here, it has essentially gained potential energy. If I were to release it, we know it's going to fall. As it's falling, it's going to lose its gravitational potential energy, because it will essentially get lower and lower and lose height. But in the process, So as it's losing potential energy, it's gaining something else, because if I let it go, it will start moving, and that is kinetic energy. Um, and essentially, you can use these big masses, you'll see, to store energy to release it later. And you'll see how that's done. So in this discussion, it's all about, okay, so try to think about um, any other example of energy transfer, and talk about that and share in the discussion. And as always, for any discussion, please respond to other comments. And that will be the discussion for this week. So it's a big week. It's a short week, but it's a big week with a lot packed in it. So there is the exam, so make sure that you don't forget to take your exam between Thursday and Saturday. If you have any questions, please stop by office hours, send me a message. And as you're going through the practice exam, you can ask me questions about that if anything is unclear. And yes, I will make sure that you try the practice exam before you start, and then you can take the test again. You have 3 hours, but it should take 1 hour. And then make sure that you start learning about energy this week. All right, please reach out if you have any questions. I want to wish you all good luck on the exam, but please, if you have any questions or if you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. All right. Thank you. Bye.